Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Chortle Cast. I'm one of your hosts, Jake, and with me as always, the Stream King, the Far Cry Guy, the King of Thieves, the Man Who May Cry Devil, and Major Catastrophe.
First name Major, second name Catastrophe. Second name. Last name Catastrophe. God dang it.
Second name Catastrophe. Third name Steven. Hi,
Third
welcome.
name Steven. Fourth name.
How many names you got, boy?
Yes.
Wow.
Hey guys.
You hanging out? You hanging out in there, Steven? You okay? You making it?
Am I hanging out or hardly hanging?
Oh man, how was Onward? Tell me about that first.
Onward was so good. Oh
Steven
man,
finally
I
watched
really
Onward.
liked it. You're wrong about Bing Bong moments in that movie because, man, a couple of them got me.
So here's the thing. I think the difference is I am an older brother, and you have older brothers. You know what I mean?
I've been I've been the oldest, the middle child, and the youngest, technically.
All at the same time?
Like not all at the same time, at different stages in my life. So I've been all of it. And when I say oldest, I've been the oldest like in the state, so I feel like the oldest because I've got a lot of younger siblings. Mm-hmm. I've been the middle child because we adopted enough to put me smack in the middle. Uh-huh. And I've been the youngest before we started adopting, so I've been everything.
Well, I don't know. I'm really glad you enjoyed it. And I'll say what I said there. I love it. I think it's great. I've seen it twice. I don't watch movies twice very often. So when I watch something twice, I really liked it. So I enjoyed it. But I'm really glad you enjoyed it. And you obviously liked Cult.
Cult?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You said the hardly hanging thing, so I figured, you know.
Well, honestly, I would say that anyway.
That's just
I did make
who you
that.
Are.
I did. I learned a new phrase. We're never going to get this podcast started. I learned a new phrase. The Scrubs is probably my favorite TV show. I can't talk. T show. Scrubs is probably my favorite TV show. And they are doing a rewatch podcast that started this week. And I learned about one of the main characters, Dr. Cox. The actor's name is John C. McGinley. A very intimidating guy, apparently. But he is one of those guys that just sounds like a dad in the way he talks. Like he's got phrases that he'll say. Like apparently whenever they would shoot a scene, and he would say like, let's say the editor's name was John. Mm-hmm. Well, his name was John too, but it doesn't matter. Let's say he was referring to the editor, and whenever they would finish a scene, he'd be like, I think we put some ammo in that one for John. Or I think John's got some ammo with that one. Uh-huh. But my new favorite phrase, and if I ever meet somebody or if anyone ever tries to shake my hand and I just could not care less about my first impression with this person, when they try to shake my hand, I'm going to respond with giving my hand and saying, here's 5 good ones for you.
How does this relate to Onward?
There's 5 good ones for you. That has nothing to do with Onward.
Okay.
But I was talking about how like my sense of like things I say, like I would have probably said whatever I said earlier about the hardly working whatever, even if I hadn't seen Onward, because that's just the kind of lame person I am. First name Major, second name Catastrophe, third name Steven, fourth name every sibling.
Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, this is Chortlecast, the official podcast of Chortle Games, where we talk about video games, TV shows, movies, anime, whatever the heck we want to talk about. Like weird phrases that Steven, Major, Catastrophe.
There's 5 good ones for you.
Next time I see you, I'm going to be like, hey, here's 5 good ones for you.
Here's 5 good ones for you.
Is that a t-shirt coming now? You got to get a...
Oh, it needs to be.
Just a handshake. Here's 5 good ones for you. We got a great show for you this week. We are, obviously, everyone is still under some sort of quarantine, shelter in place. We are in a shelter in place now officially. Our governor put that into practice this past Friday in Mississippi. So it hasn't really changed much for me. I was given a letter that says I am a essential business and that I needed to stay open, so I'm still going to work. all that good stuff.
Who was that letter from?
Do what?
Who was that letter from?
It was from an essential business, one of our clients. And basically they were like, we are an essential business. You are a essential support business to us. We need you to stay open.
So is this essential business thing like everyone can take a +1? Like every essential business can be like, hi, this business is my +1.
So I have no idea. It's actually kind of funny if you look, at least, I don't know if this is for everyone, but in Mississippi, if you look at the list of essential businesses, almost every business is listed on there. Even like schools and churches and that sort of stuff. Those are all essential.
Everything that was already doing what it was doing,
right,
is just going to continue doing what it was doing.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I think really more so than anything, this just gives law enforcement the backbone to say, hey, disperse. Like, please leave. Go home.
It really was meant for people who were gathering. Like down here where I live, there's a road called the Trace.
Yeah.
And my right hand man over at church, my sound guy, he rides his bike on the Trace every so often, and he said that every single time he's gone out there, he has seen just multitudes of teenagers like jumping off bridges into water.
Oh my god!
Or like hanging out in the reservoir, doing parties and picnics and stuff, doing exactly what they aren't supposed to be doing.
Right.
And so this is mainly for that.
Yep.
It gives law enforcement the ability to say, hey, even though I can't arrest you because prisons aren't taking any new inmates,
you need to leave.
I'm going to strongly tell you to leave.
Oh, man. What a wild time. What a wild time. But you hanging in okay? Really you're still making it and everything?
Yeah. We've been adapting more so every single week at my church. It's been more work gradually, but it's all good work. Mm-hmm. But we're finding more ways to do the existing work more efficiently.
Right.
So, for example, we do 2 podcasts at least every week here. Mm-hmm. And now both recordings are remote, so I don't have to be here to do that. That's normally one of the things that I do right after we record this. Mm-hmm. But they're going to record it over Zoom, send me the footage, and I'm going to edit it together. So it's a lot of content, like no change really there's an increase in content that we're doing over here at the church since everything is media now, right, like I've said. But we're finding ways to do it more effectively to use my time better. And our Sunday morning services have only been getting better and more well attended, so that's been really nice.
That's good. Yeah, we Friday and Saturday were very weird for me. My boss kind of sent us all home early. We all left after lunch, so I basically was home almost all day Friday. So it felt like Saturday, and then Saturday felt like Saturday, but it was just like, what am I supposed to do today? And then Sunday, we obviously have a little bit more going on, but still, it's kind of like I've got all this free time this afternoon. Like, what am I going to do? So it's been interesting, but I just trying to. It is weird because I just feel like my whole routine is just disrupted, and I know we've been going through this for a few weeks, but like, I don't know. It's just now it's one thing if you go a week with a disrupted routine, you're kind of like, okay, this is kind of fresh, this is kind of new, but now I'm kind of to the point of just like antsy kind of, you know what I mean? Like I'm like, okay, my routine has been disrupted for too long, I need it to reestablish. So anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. I don't know how I got off on that whole rabbit trail. I was just trying to say what we were going to talk about today. We're going to be talking about Black Widow being rescheduled, and then Last of Us Part 2 and Iron Man VR have been delayed. So those are our topics. We're probably going to talk a little bit about Risk of Rain, Animal Crossing. I don't know what you've been playing, Steven, all that good stuff. But before we do any of that, Steven, we have some forward-compatible news for our lovely listeners and viewers. Why don't you take that away?
Yep. Okay, so as we said last week, forward compatible is not dead. It's very much alive, and I think that now forward compatible is something that we need more than ever, honestly, because it's something that can be an involved piece of content with you guys, and it's also something that I can do in my spare time to kind of fuel creativity, because I'm honestly locked in my house a lot, which is no different than usual, but other people are locked in their houses too, so I have this opportunity to actually
Do stuff.
do things. Yeah. So Forward Compatible is back. It's not starting this week, but we're going to do something different. Since you guys are all, well, most of you probably are cooped up, maybe getting a little antsy and just bored out of your mind, I wanted to try to involve you guys as much as I could. And I know I've said that before with Forward Compatible, but with this one, we're going to take more steps to make that happen. So we're going to do Forward Compatible over the month of April. We're going to change this, and Jake, correct me if any of this is off. Sorry, I saw something on my computer. Forward Compatible is no longer going to be just over a week.
Right.
It's going to be over the course of a month.
I think we had even kind of talked about that when we started Castle Crashers in the month of February.
Yes.
Basically just saying, we're going to stretch it out. That way we can play longer games if we need to. Gives you more time to work on reviews and for me to edit the review video. So, yeah, I think we had talked about that. But, again, we haven't done this in a while. So, yeah, it's going to be a whole month-long thing. And
that doesn't mean that we're going to be doing the same amount of content for it as we would within a week over the course of a month. It means that we are giving ourselves the whole month to do the whole thing. Mm-hmm. So that could mean I just blaze through the entire game in a week. Mm-hmm. But that gives me 2 or 3 weeks to write a script and record it and Jake to edit it. Mm-hmm. It's going to be some combination of that because that's what happened with Castle Crashers. It was just such a crazy time, which we still haven't done the review. But it was just such a crazy time when I felt so under the gun to get it done when we were moving into a house. We got a dog. Just all this stuff happened. And I felt like once I missed the deadline to get it done within that week, it was just like, well, what's the point anymore? That's kind of how it felt. I'm still open to doing the review, but since it involved Anna too, it's a lot of moving parts. This way, I've got much more time. And I'm probably going to treat the games as I normally would, where I'm going to, whenever I feel like streaming them, I'm going to stream them. But it gives me more time to timestamp from the streams for stuff in the script for Jake. It gives me time to think about it, write in the script better, and potentially, as I think Kaylin pointed out, it gives me the opportunity to maybe play much bigger games like Knights of the Old Republic or Elder Scrolls, which that terrifies me, honestly, doing like Morrowind. I know Kaylin specifically is like, so Morrowind? And I'm just like, there's a part of me that just flutters at the idea of just being like, yes, Morrowind was my first open world fantasy experience, but then the other part is like, it's an Elder Scrolls game. Right. It's a slog. You gotta get through it. And so I am open to doing longer games now, is the main gist of that. But, and I don't know if I already said this because I'm multitasking, like I'm down here working as well as doing this. Don't knock that over, Steven. Goodness, major disaster. Was it disaster? Catastrophe, that's what it was. Disaster is my middle name. 1.5 name. Major disaster catastrophe, Steven.
First name Major, second name Catastrophe, middle name Disaster.
Middle name between first and second name.
Wow.
But so this week, we are putting it to a vote. And it's going to be a little different from how we normally do votes, because I feel like what can happen with votes on the channel is that once they get traction, like once one choice gets traction, it just takes it, usually. Where if something has 3 votes and everything else has no votes, people just pile on the 3 votes. So we're going to do it anonymously, where this is what we're going to try. I'm going to check on this today and make sure we can send this live by the time this podcast airs. I'm going to set up a Discord channel. I've learned a lot about how Discord works from running Prometheus. Kind because I've basically turned that into a playground, and so now I know how to do a bunch of cool tricks. But we're going to set up, and I hope this works, because if it doesn't work here, then it has been working for Prometheus, and I've been doing my job wrong. But we're going to set up a channel that users can send messages to, but they cannot read them. So you're just going to see like a chat bar at the bottom that says write message, and you're not going to see anything above that, but admins will, so you'll be able to type in your messages. We'll be able to read them. The way we're going to do the vote is that the most recent submission you made per person is your one vote. So if Austin votes for one game, then he thinks about it, he's like, you know what? No, this other game, and then types that in. The initial vote doesn't count. I'm only going to go by most recent. Do we want to talk about what the games are?
Yeah, I think so. Go ahead and list those out. You want me to do it?
So, I want you to do it.
Okay, all right. These are your three choices, ladies and gentlemen, for what Steven could do for the month of April's Forward Compatible. The number one is The Bureau, which, as Steven explained to me earlier, is an XCOM-like game.
Let me clarify. It is literally XCOM.
Okay.
Like it is supposed to be the origin of XCOM, like in the 1960s, but it is not a turn-based tactical game. It's a third-person squad game. So it's an XCOM story, but it's not like XCOM gameplay-wise.
Interesting. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
The other option is BioShock 1, or I guess it's not even 1, it's just BioShock.
Just BioShock. Yeah.
So the original BioShock. And then JK3, which Steven's done a review
Jedi Knight
of Jedi Knights 2. No. Yes.
Yeah.
And then, so this would be a review of Jedi Knights 3, which Steven has previously said is better in every way.
Not every way.
Not every way.
Necessarily. But it is my preferred game.
Gotcha. The reason we picked BioShock and JK3 is because both of those just had a release on the Nintendo Switch. So, those are a little bit topical, I guess you could say. And then The Bureau was one that Steven just kind of had on a growing list of things that could be forward compatible. So, anyway, those are your three choices.
The Bureau is one of those that the Bureau is one of those where, like, as I was doing. Listing titles in my head when I was coming up with this idea, The Bureau was one of those that was like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. And all of these would be cool.
Right.
I love JK3. I could rant for hours about BioShock, and The Bureau is one of those games that I could also rant about for hours in defense of it, because a lot of people did not like it. But I loved it. So...
All right.
Yep. Those are your choices. Those will be live, today.
Yeah. Sometime after this podcast, if you check our Discord, you can get to that in the description of this video. You can go there, make your vote, all the good stuff.
And voting ends, get your votes in by Friday night, because I'm going to need Saturday to make sure which game won will work. And I just will need to run it through a test with OBS, make sure that I can output it, get audio levels correct, so we don't have to do that on the first night of streaming.
Right.
But yeah, and I would love any audience interaction of any kind in doing this. Honestly, I did before, I think it was Alan Wake, when I wrote the script, I did like a public voice chat with you guys on Discord, and it helped me come up with the script. So I love stuff like that, where you guys just share your thoughts and you can give me perspective that I don't normally have. So whatever game we choose, any kind of collaboration you guys would want, any kind of ways you'd want to be involved, that'd be cool. We'll figure it out. We'll do this together.
Like always, we're going to do it together. We're going to get through this virus. But yeah, so go vote. Do that by Friday. We'll have a great time. We'll try to remind you throughout the live streams this week to go vote, but be sure to do that by Friday. Now, on to the news. We'll get the big news right out of the way. On Thursday, we got the sad, horrible news that Iron Man VR has been delayed again. And I just don't know. I just don't know what... and Last of Us Part 2 got delayed as well. So there's that. But,
That was good.
just reverse that, and that's how I feel about this whole thing.
Yeah, that was. I got distracted because I'm working on some things when you said that, and I knew you were going to say Last of Us, and as I was talking, I was just like, did he just say Iron Man? I'm really distracted. Like, I'm hearing things, but
I'm hearing.
Thank you for.
No. So, yeah, sadly, Last of Us Part 2 and Iron Man VR have been delayed. Iron Man VR, like, I'm probably going to get it. I'm probably going to play it. I'm not in any rush to get that. In fact, if that could wait till fall, even better. Because the time that I typically play VR games is my wife, she travels for her job. And she typically plans her travel weeks to where every other week she travels. So she'll be gone for like 3 days. I try to play a whole VR game in one sitting over those 3 days that she's gone. So that can wait. I can wait on that. That's not a big deal. Last of Us Part 2, I'm really, really disappointed about. The game was originally coming out. I'm trying to pull up my calendar. The game was, well, I don't even remember when it was originally. I think it was sometime in April was when it was originally supposed to release. But now it was supposed to release on May 29th. So a little 2 months away from now, something like that. And we're in the middle of a pandemic. A lot of people, Animal Crossing is one of those games that's kind of been, touted as what a great time for this to have happened. It's literally an island getaway that we can all escape from this situation and, experience whatever. So people have been really, really excited about that. And then really just any game right now, we talked about last week, the PSN is having to lower its speeds to accommodate the surplus of people using the service. People are playing video games right now. They're playing video games and watching movies. So any game that can come out right now, I'm not going to say it's going to be huge, but like people are going to play it, and people need something to do and get away from all of this. So anyway, to get that kind of gets into my thoughts on this for later. But basically, Sony tweeted the SIE, which is their network, or I don't know. I actually know what that stands for, but I was going to say Santa Monica Studios, but that's not. I don't think that's right either. Anyway, they made the difficult decision to delay the launch of Last of Us Part 2 and Marvel's Iron Man VR until further notice. Logistically, the global crisis is preventing us from providing the launch experience our players deserve. The company also said, currently there are no other delays to report, but we'll keep you updated. Which scares me a little bit for Ghost of Tsushima, because that means it's probably next on the chopping block. But anyway, it's sad and it sucks for Last of Us Part 2 because they've already had a pretty disappointing delay. The first delay came less than a week after the initial release date announcement, which was just kind of, we've talked already before about how that was a weird situation to begin with. And then now this, and what's probably worse about it is it's indefinite, right? This situation could be, I don't think it will be, but it could be under control enough that the game could have launched on May 29th. You know what I mean? But at this point, we don't know when this pandemic will kind of be under control other than just months from now, I think is kind of how we're all thinking of it. So, this could push to June, but Ghost of Tsushima is the 26th. So will this game launch before Ghost of Tsushima now? How does that work? Who knows? Before I toss it to your thoughts, Stephen, the only other thing that kind of frustrates me now, basically, Naughty Dog came out and talked about how the game's almost the game is almost finished. It's not quite gold. We're smashing the last little bugs here, but we were set to release at that time, but We want all of our, and I'm paraphrasing here, but they wanted all gamers to experience the game at the same time. And everybody's been waiting for this for so long. We want it to just have the best experience possible, yada, 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 whatever. And this is where I'm just confused, and I understand what they're saying. I just don't understand the issue, and I guess I'm not as knowledgeable about the issue. There's obviously digital games, right? I talked about this on a live stream, and I've said this before. I pretty much buy all of my games digitally. And the reason is because it's twofold. Number one, if I download the game, if I run out of space, I can delete the game, keep my save, and I can always re-download the game. The game is, until they take it off the service, I can always re-download that game, whatever. The other reason I started doing it was really when we started the channel, and say Steven wanted to play something or do something that I had. If we were close, I could just, hey, here's my disc, get it back to me whenever. But we're not close enough that's convenient. So if Steven said, hey, I really want to play Days Gone, do you mind if I borrow it off of your system? Steven logs in as me on his PlayStation. As long as I don't log in, he can play it, And we've done that for different things that we've live streamed.
We did that for Days Gone. We did that for the entire Detroit Become Human playthrough.
That's right. I completely forgot about that. Wow, we did do that, didn't we?
Because I never owned it until they made it the PS Plus free game.
That's right. You and Brody both did that off of my system, because Brody had to make sure you weren't streaming. Before he was playing. So anyway, all that to say, I get my games digitally. That's just how I prefer to get it. I understand some people like the physical. I understand, Brody and I were talking about this. He was like, nah, I just really like knowing that I own the game, which that is a concern, but I don't think it's not a major concern for me at this point, because I have such a big hard drive that I rarely run out of space. I've got like 5 terabytes or something stupid. So I rarely run out of space, number one. So I'm not worried about, if they take something off the server, it's on my hard drive, I still have it. So to me, that's as good as a physical. I'm getting distracted here. My point is, they could obviously still deliver the downloadable game. So what the issue is they're worried about physical copies being shipped to people and shipped to stores in time. Now, Animal Crossing is a good example here. Animal Crossing from Amazon, people were experiencing delays. Most people didn't get it on that Friday, the 20th or whatever. I think most people got it like the 21st or the 23rd or something like that. They had a delay. So that's what they're trying to avoid. But I understand that, and I understand where they're coming from, but I don't know that that's enough justification to indefinitely postpone a game. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. You got to respect their decision. They've done it, what they've done. Me personally, I'm upset because I want to play this game. I want to get away from the situation we're in. Games are a great way to do that right now. We've already been waiting for this game for so long. We've had to deal with more delays. Now we have an indefinite delay. At this point, and the other kind of thing that kind of ties into this is, we're all waiting on the PS5 and we're waiting on the Xbox Series X news. And for me personally, Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima are kind of the last big games I want to play on PS4. And they're already releasing so close. I mean, we're assuming the PS5 is going to come out in November, right? Ghost of Tsushima in June. If that has to push any closer, to August or September, like, sure, we still have months, but like, it's almost like Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk is coming out in September. A month or two from then, I'll have a PS5. Dang, I wish, I almost kind of wish I could just wait 2 months to play it on the PS5. So I don't know. It's one of those things that I hope this delay doesn't go very far, because I've seen a lot of people on Twitter say, like, at this point, let's just make it a launch game. Just start reworking it for a PS5 launch, and let's go from there. But anyway, I've talked a lot. Steven, what do you think about this whole situation?
It's hard to say. It seems weird because you have all these companies that are so clearly pushing towards digital.
Right.
Like the physical release market has kind of been hanging on a thread for a while, I feel like.
Right.
Like it's become very niche because you do have those people like Brody and arguably like me that they just prefer having a physical copy, but the money is in digital. Mm-hmm. It just is. Mm-hmm. The only reason I haven't bought Doom Eternal yet is because it's the kind of game that I don't know if I would play it again after I beat it. So I would want to have the physical so I could trade it in.
Right.
But that's a non-issue for so many people who play games. Mm-hmm. Especially a game like Last of Us, who I feel like every PlayStation owner is going to own it. That's just, it's that game. Mm-hmm. So it seems weird to me for them to hold on to that physical release aspect of the, and maybe it's because they're scared because it's such a big release for them to where they don't want to lose any of those numbers.
Right.
But the fact is, or at least it feels this way, this game's just going to get re-released for PS5.
Yeah. Well, and
early on.
I'm sure a lot of people have already forgotten this, but there was talk early on that there was a multiplayer component that was going to be a part of Last of Us 2. And at a certain point, I think it was the very first reveal event where they gave the release date and all of the, a lot of media folks were down there and got to play certain sections and talk about it, whatever. The big question was, well, hey, what about that multiplayer thing y'all were talking about? And they were like, we're still working on it, but that's going to be something separate. That's going to be something different. The rumor and the thought is that when the PS5 comes out, they're going to release a remaster of Last of Us Part 2, and it's going to have the multiplayer component as kind of an enticement to buy it and get it. That's just a rumor. That's a thought. It could be, like they said, a completely different experience and a completely different game. But anyway, I don't know. So all that to say and agree with you, I think it's going to be coming to PS5 too as well, in some way, shape, form, or fashion.
So it just seems to me like if they were going to be so affected by the physical release, why would they care?
Right.
It's like with Last of Us 3. The majority of people who played Last of Us 1, because it was on the PlayStation 3 is what I was getting at. The majority of people who played Last of Us 1 played it on PS4, even though it released on PS3. Mm-hmm. So one could argue that you're going to have the most buy-in on the new gen system. So if you truly are on track with this new gen system, why are you crippling the games that are coming out right before it? It seems like now would be as good a time as any to force people to move towards that digital market, because that's just more money for them. I mean, it's got to be more expensive to distribute physical copies than it is to just release it, like to send a digital game. So why is Sony not taking this opportunity to basically force their people to buy into it?
I think the majority is they don't want that. I think they don't want the article that says Sony is forcing people to buy digital, whatever. I'd love to see numbers on this whole situation with Animal Crossing. And I don't know how we could get these numbers, but I distinctly remember seeing the tweet about how Amazon was delaying certain shipments. And my immediate thought was, this is why I got it digitally. In fact, I think Brody, that's what got us on this conversation, was he had ordered it digitally from Amazon, saw it was getting delayed, canceled that, bought it digitally. I'd love to see the numbers of how many people did that with Animal Crossing. I was getting a physical copy, going to be delayed. Sorry, dog. Cancel, download. I'd love to see those numbers, because I would think that it would be pretty big. There would be a huge drop off of physical copies. Now, special edition, collector's editions, I'm sure those did not get canceled. But I'd love to see those numbers, because I would think that if Sony announced, hey, just a heads up, here we are almost 2 months ahead of this game coming out. Shipping with Amazon has been delayed. They're pretty much restricting it or prioritizing medical supplies and food. So video games are kind of bottom tier. They're being delayed. So if you've ordered off Amazon or GameStop, or you are getting your physical copy shipped in, there may be a delay. However, we're still going to release the game. If you want to get it digitally, you can have it the same day. Something like that. I don't know why you wouldn't just put out that as a PSA, kind of let people know. And then if they want to get it physically and wait a day or two or a week, I'd almost rather them have given us the choice, than just take the choice away and say, no. We're going to force everyone to wait so that, people who want to get it physically, which I'm sure, well, I don't really know, but I'd love to know somebody who was like, no, I want my physical copy of this game. And gosh darn it, I would have waited, if I had to, whatever. I'd love to hear what they think of this. Like, are they upset? Are they glad it got delayed because they were already worried about their pre-order coming in on time? I'd love to know, because I would imagine that they're probably upset about this too, because they're ready to just play the game. So I don't know. It seems like it's just a bad. This situation sucks, right? We're talking about a video game, and this is a stupid video game. It's whatever. People are losing their jobs. People are dealing with unemployment. There's so many other issues going on. So this is a dumb thing to even argue about or be upset about, but
it was just something that a lot of people thought they were going to have to brighten this time.
Right.
And now it's just not coming.
Right.
Well, or it's just coming when we don't know.
Yeah. I don't know very much about this situation or how it's supposed to be fixed. Everything I read, everything I'm told, everything I'm seeing on the news, whatever, is that it's going to get worse before it gets better. And I keep thinking, okay, we've hit the worst, so now it's going to get better. But it just keeps going and keeps pushing back. A lot of you know that I shoot weddings on the side. All of my weddings up to the end of May have rescheduled. Their weddings, and in one case, the couple actually just eloped, and they might have a ceremony later. So, I keep hoping that by the end of May, maybe we can kind of be back in a point where, weddings and other events and things can kind of go back to normal. But who knows? Who knows how it's going to go? So
I honestly think a lot of people have been saying it's going to get worse before it gets better for weeks and weeks and weeks. I honestly think that in certain parts of the world, I think we are at that point to where it's going to be on the downtick, where things are going to start to cool off. This will continue to be a global thing and a thing that we keep track of, but I honestly think that the worst is either what we're in the midst of or it's behind us.
Right.
Because one could argue that the worst was the panic.
Right. Yeah.
In fact, that was my worst. Was just wondering exactly how far are these people going to be pushed, and will they be pushed to violence, like all that kind of stuff. Now that we're in the stage where
it's a new
normal,
normal,
lot of states are doing
almost.
shelter in place. It's kind of a new normal. Yeah. People are letting this thing run its course, or somewhat. So I think that we're gonna be getting back to something that looks more like our old normal within a month or two.
Yeah. Well, and see, even with that in mind, if we're thinking a month or two, well, shoot, that would have fit when this game was supposed to come out. So I don't know. I almost feel like maybe they jumped the gun a little bit. Like they maybe could have waited till May to announce this, to announce it at the beginning of April, You've still got 2 months where so much could change. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It is what it is. They've delayed it. We're going to have to deal with that. I hope it doesn't get pushed. My number one hope is that I hope this doesn't push to Ghost of Tsushima and Ghost of Tsushima be delayed. But I also kind of hope that they still release this before Ghost of Tsushima. But I don't know. We'll just have to keep riding this wave and hope it all works out. And again, like I said, I know it is kind of dumb to be like upset about a video game when there are people, like I said, who losing their jobs, dealing with really hard situations. But I do think, like what you said, Stephen, of a lot of people were looking forward to this to escape, especially now. So it's just sad.
Escape this apocalyptic, disease-ridden land for another apocalyptic, disease-ridden land with zombies.
It's better though, you know what I mean?
Nah, it's not.
It's not. It's really not. But anyway, so on a happier note, I guess, PlayStation Plus games were revealed for April. It's going to be Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, and Dirt Rally 2. Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, one of Steven's all-time
favorite games. It's so good. Like, seriously, if you haven't played Uncharted yet, go play the Drake Collection first. But if you have played Uncharted, and for whatever reason you've been living under a rock and have not played Uncharted 4 yet, it is the best one for people who have already played Uncharted. It's so good. Play it. Now, what are you doing? Go play it.
Now.
Go.
You gotta wait till
a little
tomorrow
bit.
when people watching this. But
don't even wait for it to go free. Go buy it. It's
right
worth
now.
it.
You know it's coming.
It's
for
worth
free
spending
tomorrow,
like
just $40,
even though it's going to be free tomorrow. Go spend however much money it is now.
Wow.
And stop requesting Catherine full body. You're the same person. The people who haven't played Uncharted 4 are the same people who keep requesting Catherine full body come back. Stop it.
Stop it.
Stop.
Oh, man. Well, speaking of Catherine full body, Disney has announced...
Nope.
Disney has announced the new release dates of several major Phase 4 movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Black Widow, which was supposed to open in May, was delayed to the coronavirus pandemic. It is now going to release on November 6th of 2020, which was originally the date for the Eternals. So the Eternals has now moved to February 12th, 2021, which was when Shang-Chi and The Legend of the Ten Rings was supposed to come out. Well, now Shang-Chi takes May 7th, 2021, which was the date for the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, moves to November 5th of 2021, which was Thor Love and Thunder's date, which is now February 28th of 2022. Black Panther 2 was slated for, is still slated for May 8th of 2022, and Captain Marvel 2 actually shifted 2 weeks early to July 8th, 2022. So, trying to think, I remember them talking about, so Mulan also got its new release date. It's going to be July 24th of 2020. And Jungle Cruise, which I think was going to release in July, is now July 30th of 2021. So basically a lot.
Did you mention Artemis Fowl?
Artemis Fowl coming straight to Disney Plus, which is kind of
interesting choice.
I'll be honest with you. Yeah. I kind of was hoping and expecting that to be what they did with a lot of the movies that were launching, that were supposed to be launching during this time.
Oh man, they would never do that with Marvel movies. That's too much money down the drain.
Yeah, but
like Artemis Fowl, I could understand. Mulan, I could understand. But when you've got Marvel movies, which, I mean, how many Marvel movies at this point are in the top 10 highest grossing films of all time? Mm-hmm. Like probably half of them. Like they would never do that. They'll push those back as far as they need to get that box office gross.
Right.
But Artemis Fowl, I'm excited because I read those books as a kid, and I'm excited to watch the movie. I keep forgetting that it's coming.
Yeah, it's apparently I have not been following it very much. I did not read the books and don't know much about it, but it's been in development hell. Apparently, they've just had.
Oh, I'm sure it's a hard movie to make work.
They've had lots of issues apparently in the development cycle, but yeah, it makes sense to just release it. I mean, honestly, I'll tell you this: I'm gonna watch it now because it's gonna be free on free. I'm gonna have it on Disney Plus, so I'll watch it there. It wouldn't have been something I'd go to the theater to see, but anyway, I kind of joked with Steven earlier. It's like we might as well just go ahead and cancel 2020. You know what I mean? We're pushing the one Marvel movie that we had to the end of the year. Like
let's start over.
Just start over. Like let's at this point. Yeah. And I kind of said this too when we were just kind of chatting before we started. Like I at this point I'm waiting for this to happen with everything. We're already seeing this delay with Last of Us Part 2. Is it going to go to Ghost of Tsushima? Is it going to go all the way to the PS5 and the Xbox Series X? Everybody keeps saying they're on track. Everybody keeps, oh, it's fine, it's good, it's whatever. But this ball keeps a rolling. And like you said, Steven, the thought is that, yeah, sure, in a month or two, this will probably be over or in a better place. But if it's not, how far does this ball go? So I'm just I'm declaring that 2020 is canceled and it's over. We'll see where it goes. Talking about Black Widow though, we watched the first Avengers, this Saturday. Me and Lee Allison did because we're rewatching all the Marvel movies because she missed a lot of the earlier ones, and it was very interesting how much of Black Widow's character they set up in the Avengers, and I haven't been excited about her movie, but now I'm like, oh man, I hate that her movie had to be delayed. Now I really want to see it. So anyway. Hopefully, we'll be there sooner rather than later. Steven, let's catch up. We've already talked about where we are with our quarantine pandemic situation, but let's catch up on what we've been playing. I'll go first. Animal Crossing.
Okay.
Continues to take over my life. I bought turnips last Sunday, sold them this week, bought them at $1.10, which I feel like was stupid because from what I understand. They are sold at 90. On Sundays, they are sold between 90 bells and 110 bells. And so I bought them at the most expensive you can buy them. But I sold them for 131 bells each. That came on like Friday. So I was starting to get antsy. But I made I think that gave me, I bought 1,000 turnips. It gave me like a $30,000 boost, which... in the grand scheme of things, is not impressive. If I had had more bells, it maybe would have been, more turnips, maybe it would have been more impressive. But whatever. This Sunday, so today when we're recording this, I bought 2,000 bells at $109 per turnip or per pack of 10 turnips, however you want to think of that. I think that's how that works. Is that how that works? No, it's not how that works. I'm pretty sure it's... yeah, anyway, I digress. Spent a lot of money on turnips, bought 2,000. I'm hoping I will see like a $200 or $300 increase in bells because that would be great to help pay off my house. Also, to anyone else that's playing Animal Crossing, you probably know about money trees at this point, Steven. To catch you up, money trees, you can, every day... there is a golden hole that if you dig that hole, there will be bells in it, and the hole will glow golden. If you plant bells in there, it will grow a money tree. Excuse me. It's all those money tree allergies, If you plant money in there, it'll grow a money tree. In the GameCube...
Stop saying Money Tree because you keep making me think of Money Trees by Kendrick Lamar, and I don't want to think about Kendrick Lamar right now.
You plant bell trees, and...
Thank you.
Typically, in the GameCube version, when this was kind of one of the first things you could do, you could only put 10,000 in there, or really it was no matter how many you put in there, only 10,000. It would give you a tree that had 3 bell fruits. Those were, could only go up to 10,000 each. So you could plant 10,000. The next time you came around, you'd get 30,000. It was a great investment. But someone discovered with New Horizons, if you bury the most bells you can hold at one time, which is 99,000. If you plant that and grow a money tree, you could get 3 bags of 99,000 bells. And then I saw some reports of like that's not an every time thing. That's not that's the exception rather than the rule. Like that might happen. I'm just here to tell you, I have had 2 consecutive days where I buried 99 bells or 99,000 bells, and I have reaped 3 bags of 99,000 bells the next day. So I have just taken it upon myself I'm going to bury 99,000 bells every time, and I'll let you know if that crashes and burns on me this week. But anyway, I've beaten the main story of Animal Crossing, so I have now unlocked everything. I've got terraforming now, started to terraform my island a little bit. The big thing I was really waiting on to unlock is making paths and roads. So I have now started making paths. I've made roads. I've got a nice little marketplace, coffee shop area that I was really excited. It was kind of an idea I had. I'm really excited about. I'm going to redo my orchard now that I can do some terraforming to make that a little better. My neighborhood where all my villagers are looks great now because there's paths to everyone's houses. I want to build everyone kind of a front yard thing. There's lots of stuff that I'm excited to get started on doing there. Now I'm just in the process of beautifying the island, planting flowers, all that good stuff. I want to discover all of the flowers. I've had a hard time getting there's like 8 types of flowers in the game, and I only have like 3. And they're the 3 you can buy. So I haven't had much luck with visiting islands to find new flowers. I'm trying to think of what else exciting. I'm still waiting for Nook's Cranny to upgrade. KK Slider comes to my island every Saturday now. That's exciting. Trying to think of what else in the game. I don't know. Anyway, I'm having a great time. If y'all want to see a live stream of that this week, be sure to let me know in the chat or in our Discord. The other thing I've been playing a lot of, Steven, is Risk of Rain 2, which is a game we live stream pretty frequently. But typically that's the only time I really play it is when we're live streaming it. Have a great time playing it then. But this most recent time, it was you, me, and Brody this past week live streamed it. And I played the Mercenary. And I think maybe the last time you and I streamed it, I don't think I played as the Mercenary, but before we started streaming, I just kind of played the Mercenary and had a lot of fun. So that's why I played it this time when I knew I had you and Brody. It was like, okay, we're gonna have a great run. Period. I'll be the Mercenary because that won't be, I can just do what I want to do and have fun. And I ended up enjoying it so much that I was craving playing, as the Mercenary. So this week, kind of after I've finished what I got to do with my daily tasks with Animal Crossing, I've been playing Risk of Rain, playing as the Mercenary, trying to unlock more of his skills. But man, his skills are hard to unlock. Have you done the Prism trials yet, Steven? The Prismatic trials, I think is what they're called.
No, I don't think so.
So it's a different game mode. I think it's below, multiplayer or something. But and maybe there's more to it. I'd love for someone, if you know more, to tell me more about it. But as I understand it, it is 2 levels that you have to do, and kind of the shtick is before you can access the portal, you have to break 3 prismatic crystals. And, you know, it's not the trial itself is not hard to do. But what you have to do to unlock the mercenaries' next skill is you have to beat that trial without ever losing any health. And the mercenary is a swordsman. He's a melee character. You are literally up in everybody's faces when you're fighting. People are shooting at you. It is a shooting game. You're being shot at as a melee character. It is very hard not to take a hit in that mode. So I gave that a couple tries, and when I realized I have to get through both, worlds or stages, whatever you want to call it, without taking any hits, I was just like, nope, I'm done. Because it took me several tries just to beat the trial period. I kind of was assuming that it was just going to keep going, and that it was just going to be like a normal run where you could do it as long as you want until you die. So I was thinking like, okay, I've got to do one stage without getting hit. So if I just keep playing, eventually I'll have enough stuff that I won't take a hit. But you have 2 levels to push through, and you got to get through all of that. So that wasn't happening. So then the other thing I can unlock is a new skin for my character. And to do that, I have to play the normal mode on Monsoon, which is like the hardest difficulty. And I have to play through 7 stages, I think, and then obliterate myself at the end of those stages. So started to do that, got really close, but still didn't do it. So then after I kind of got fed up with that, I started playing as the Artificer, which is what Brody played in the last stream. He's kind of a magic user, a glass cannon. And he's really, really fun to play. I ended up having a lot of drones when I was playing that run with, I guess it's a her, isn't it? With her. So I've been having a great time with Risk of Rain, is all I'm here to say. So anyway, if you don't have that game, it's a great game. I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. Steven, what have you been playing or watching?
Well,
we talked a little bit about Onward, but...
watched Onward, watched Coco, got emotionally wrecked.
Coco will do that to you.
Yeah, probably. I could say pretty confidently that it's the most impressive Pixar movie to date. Not best necessarily, although there's an argument to be made that it is. But it's the most impressive, from like how good the animation is, to the lighting, to the world and the development of the world and its rules, to the story, to the emotion, the music. It was just incredible. Loved it.
It's good. It's a good one.
So been playing Division 2, obviously. Been playing some Helldivers with Jeremy and Mike. That's been pretty fun. Been playing a lot of Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I played the Fantastic Four DLC.
Yeah.
It was good. Human Torch is incredibly powerful. I haven't tried any of the other 3, but I have also tried Doctor Doom, and he is insanely powerful.
Wow.
So Doctor Doom's in my main 4 now, so that's
nice.
Cool. But not Fantastic Four. None of the Fantastic Four, coincidentally, are in my main 4.
That's why it's the main 4, not the Fantastic Four.
Yes. But they're better than the Fantastic Four.
The major destruction catastrophe 4.
Destruction?
I don't know. I threw in a new adjective there.
Sorry, my phone's getting blown up. So, the DLC was good, though. It leaves on a cliffhanger that teases either an Expansion Pass 2 or Marvel Ultimate Alliance 4. Which I'm excited about, because let me tell you, they have handled this game so well.
Yeah.
Like, even if you don't think that, like, even if you're just like, oh, the old games were better, that's fine. I totally understand that perspective. But the post-launch handling of this game has been fantastic. They've just been coming out with so much stuff, giving you reason upon reason upon reason to just keep playing the game. And I'm still having a blast with it. So
do you think it's
funny because
what do you think is more likely, another expansion pass set or just jumping straight to 4?
I think 4 because the story for the Fantastic Four DLC, the Shadow of Doom, the story was called Epilogue. I don't see them making another expansion pass for story content for this game. I see them honestly just doing a new game because it makes more sense for them to follow up Epilogue with Here Comes Marvel Ultimate Alliance 4.
Right.
But who knows? We'll see. Times are strange, so they may just pull a Saints Row 4 and turn, well, I guess the opposite of Saints Row 4, turn what was intended to be a game into DLC rather than turning DLC into what was intended to be a game.
Right.
I also have been playing a game called Strange Brigade.
Yeah, you live streamed that Saturday. What's that about?
So there's a spring sale right now on PlayStation.
Yes.
It's got some good deals, but one deal on there is for Strange Brigade. It is normally, I think, $40 or $50. You can get it for $10, and you can get the deluxe edition, which comes with all of the DLC. So that's 5 characters and like 3 maps or levels, for $15, which is like a regular $85 or something like that. It's crazy.
Dang.
It's a really good deal. Strange Brigade was made by Rebellion, who did the Sniper Elite games and the Nazi Zombie Army games. And it plays like one of those. But it's like Nazi Zombie Army, which is kind of like Left 4 Dead, to where you start at point A, you need to go to point B, you pick up weapons along the way, and upgrades and stuff like that. So it's linear, but it's like that meets The Mummy, the movie, like the Brendan Fraser movie.
Yeah.
Because it's like 1930s, I think is what James kind of pinned down. And it's like, you'll have to look up a trailer for it or just watch the stream because it was a good stream. Jeremy and I played it together. You play as this group called, and I'm going to do the guy's voice. There's a narrator that has like that 1950s radio voice. You play as a team called the Strange Brigade. And you're just this group of weird people. There's Frank Fairburn, who is related to Carl Fairburn from Sniper Elite somehow. I don't know. This game doesn't seem to know when it takes place. He's like the British captain, I guess. And then I play as Archimedes de Quincey, I think. He's like a professor of artifacts and magic from some college. There's a big game hunter. There's a African warrior woman. There's some Scottish woman who's a mechanic, I guess. There's a Japanese dude who looks like he's from World War II, but this takes place like 15 years before World War II, we think. It's just a bunch of colorful characters. And it's just a third-person shooter with a lot of puzzle elements that has that kind of Brendan Fraser's The Mummy feel to it, to where you're going through tombs, so kind of like Indiana Jones, solving puzzles, fighting evil creatures and stuff. It's really cool. Like, I would have been okay with spending $30 on this game.
Right.
Easily. And I got it for 15 because I got the
Expansion Deluxe.
the expansion pass. Yeah, the deluxe edition. And so, like, it's just a fun game that's got a wacky sense of humor that seems like it's got just a lot to do. And it's super cheap. So, like, I recommend it. It's a lot of fun. Watch our stream. Jeremy and I said that we may wait to play it for when we can stream it.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, it's not perfect by any means. Like I said, I would have been happy with spending $30 for this game. Would not have been happy with spending $60 for this game. It's kind of clunky with its shooting mechanics, but it gets the job done. It's just a fun game. I would recommend checking it out. We've been playing that a little bit. So yeah, Strange Brigade. Check it out.
Strange Brigade. Sounds good. I'm going to have to go back and watch it. I just saw the title and I was like, what is Stephen playing? Hey everybody, thanks for watching this episode of Chortle Cast. We do hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, there's a couple things you can do to help us out. Number one, you're already on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, you're already at chortlegames.com. You can like this video, share it with your friends, leave us a comment, all that good stuff. We appreciate that. If you're watching on Facebook, you're at Chortle Games on Facebook. You can also like, share this, comment, and follow our page for more of our live streams. We also live stream on Twitch. That's Chortle_games on Twitch. If you are a Twitch user and enjoy Twitch, we'd love it if you'd go follow our page there, and eventually we can start posting the podcast there, which would be awesome. We just need more followers there. So even if you don't like Twitch, but you have a Twitch account because, you just made one for something and, whatever, go follow us. We'd appreciate it. And then maybe eventually we'll have podcasts there as well. We're also on Twitter, at Chortle Games on Twitter. And you can follow us there, all that good stuff. We've talked a lot about it over the course of the podcast. We have a Discord. You can join that through the description in the video that you're watching right now. Or if you want to go, I always say this is easier, go to chortlegames.com. That'll take you to our YouTube channel page. In our banner, and there's a little Discord icon. Click that. It's my go-to way to get there. Anyway, do that. We post a lot of good stuff there. This week, go vote for what you want to see for Forward Compatible. The list, again, is the Bureau, JK3, Jedi Knights 3, and Bioshock. Just Bioshock 1. The first one, the original.
Bioshock the first.
Right. Not Bioshock first. Just Bioshock.
Not Bioshock 1. Original Bioshock. Because Bioshock 1 is the sequel that they'll release later on. Like they did with Xbox.
So confusing.
No?
I hate it.
That's an old joke. I'm sorry.
Oh, I understand. I see what you did there. You're so funny, Steven. Yep. Your humor is just so elevated.
Thanks. That's my 8th name.
Elevated, or my humor is elevated? Because that's a pretty. You have a double 8th name.
No. Just funny is my 8th name. Elevated is my 12th name, and humor is my 11th name. My parents screwed up the birth certificate, so they got.
I hate you and I love you. I just want you to know that. I think that's all I had to say. Yeah. So go vote. Do that by Friday. Yada, yada. This week, we will be doing live streams on either Tuesday or Thursday. And then, of course, Friday and Saturday. So be sure to tune in for those. I'll probably do an Animal Crossing stream either Friday or Saturday for me. Steven will do one of the other ones. And then, I tell you what, Steven, we might be playing Risk of Rain again Tuesday or Thursday.
Cool.
We'll have to decide what that is. So be sure to follow us, stick around, subscribe, follow whatever channel you like to watch on. We'll be live streaming on all of them. And then come back next week to find out what the Forward Compatible for April is going to be. And hear more from our coronavirus quarantine diaries. And
Coronatine, like quarantine with corona. That's my nickname.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next time. Bye.